Marc Marquez, I don't think he's worried about the architecture at the moment. He's only worried about the architecture of the Silverstone circuit.
Oxford's famous for its university. Who's done their homework the best on the tyre life here?
Who's got a degree in tyre management?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Leading the championship. I mean, just look at that recent record. Second, third, first, second. He is absolutely flying. I think he's in the form of his life at the moment, if the truth be known. And a couple of wins here in the 125 and MotoGP. Valentino Rossi, though, has got a recent good record here, hasn't he?
He has. Race winner here in 2015. He was also on the podium 1 year ago. He was not being defeated, but he was talking down his chance a little bit yesterday. He felt, in terms of race pace, Marc Marquez and Cal Crutchlow definitely had a little bit of the upper hand by about 2 or 3 tenths of a second. Dylan.
Yeah, guys, let me bring you down to the grid. Someone who can maybe help us understand the tyres a bit. Alvaro Bautista. Well, Alvaro, I have you down on the list as medium front, soft option rear. Will you stick with that with this hot temperature?
Yeah, for sure. I think about that. No, yesterday I tried the hard in the front. I didn't have a good feeling. No, it's this track, even if it's hot, but you don't have a really hard braking point. No, it's more a speed corner, so I felt more comfortable on the medium. No, I did during the practice the race distance, and I had no big problems. So I trust in the medium compound in the front. And then in the soft, also I did the race distance during the practice, and I felt quite consistent, no? Especially starting from the back, that you need to push from the beginning. I think with the soft rear we have a positive point in that moment, no? So we'll see.
How positive can it be? Maybe a top 5?
We'll see, no? For sure this weekend has been a bit hard for us, but I try my best, no? Our target is always top 5, but I know this weekend will be difficult. Anyway, I try to be very focused on the first laps and try to gain the maximum position possible.
Thank you very much, Alvaro. Good luck.
That's interesting about Alvaro Bautista making his 250th Grand Prix appearance. He has qualified on the 5th row of the grid in 13th place. He is a former pole setter here at Silverstone. We just saw somebody from Ducati with a tyre in his hand. We're waiting to hear on that one.
It was one of that man's mechanics, Andrea Dovizioso. Is he contemplating a late change? He looks pretty relaxed and pretty calm, doesn't he, Andrea Dovizioso?
Usually does, whatever the situation.
He does,
doesn't he?
Yeah. Talk about a thinking man's rider. He's worked methodically and analytically, as always, to try and work out the best tyre solution. He got his tactics absolutely spot on last time out in Austria, Dylan.
Well, someone who's going to want to get his tactics very spot on is this man, Danilo Petrucci. I'm down here with him. Danilo, really difficult qualifying for you. I mean, is your pace better? Do you think you can make it close to the front?
Yeah, tough weekend. But anyway, in F4 we found something in the resting. Then in qualifying, I got a lot of rider behind, and I slow down, but even my tire go a little bit colder, and I crash immediately without any laps, and my starting position is not good. Anyway, I think a good race is to finish in the top 10 could be great.
Do you think we will see a big group, or do you think it might spread out a bit?
I hope to find a big group, but I think the first 3, maybe the first 2 rows are a little bit faster. So I don't know, maybe the Hondas are stronger. We will see.
Hey, Danilo, good luck. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's bad luck for him yesterday. Of course, he had a great ride here a couple of years ago where he finished second behind Valentino Rossi. Here is Cal Crutchlow. He has absolutely nothing to lose, has he, Matt? He's not chasing the championship. He's got a contract with the factory Honda team. This could be his moment.
Listen to the reception he's getting. He's obviously just appeared on the big screens dotted around this vast Silverstone Motorsport complex, and there was a rapturous reception for Cal Crutchlow. Can he make history today by being the first British rider on the mainland, either at Donington Park or Silverstone, to win in front of his home crowd? Here's a man who's been absolutely performing brilliantly of late. Pol Espargaro inside the top 10 at the end of practice. He's going to start from 11th place on the grid. Can he make it a 3rd successive top 10 for the Austrian factory? Dylan.
Yeah, guys, just changing factory to a Japanese factory. I'm down here with Davide Brio from Suzuki. Well, Davide, you're coming back to the circuit where you took your first victory last year, and in the warm-up this morning, Andrea showed something special. Are you hoping this could be the getting back to podium ways?
Unfortunately, the race position is not so good because we fix major of the problem between FP4 yesterday and warm up today. Especially Andrea during the warm up, he felt much better. So we will try. I mean, we have to suffer at the beginning. We will see. It's a long race. Also, the temperature is going up. Tire will be difficult, bumpy. Physically for the rider will be difficult. So there are many question marks around this race, but we will see. We try, and why not to dream? Let's see what happens.
Saw one person who's dreaming is Alex Rins. I mean, he did put in a really good qualifying. You know, he's now finally showing his potential. Do you think we will see maybe a top 10 result from him?
Yeah, he has a good pace, and looks like he was yesterday, let's say, not relaxed, but quite easy to keep the pace, not very at the limit. So I think so. He has to get a good start, not lose too much time at the beginning, and see if he can stay together with the top. But I think he can do a good race. Maybe, I hope, the best of the season.
Okay, well, we hope so too. Thank you very much, Davide.
Here is Jorge Lorenzo, 3 times winner on the Yamaha at Silverstone. Out-qualified his teammate just Andrea Dovizioso, just one podium finish so far this season, but had a good ride 2 weeks ago at the Red Bull Ring in Austin, the race that in Austria, sorry, the race that his teammate won, where he finished in 4th place after leading in the early stages. And I fancy him from the second row of the grid to lead here, don't you?
Yeah, he normally does tend to like to bolt away, doesn't he, Jorge Lorenzo? We just saw Ian Gilpin, one of Maverick Vinales' factory Yamaha crew there, with a front tyre walking back up the pit. I don't know if Vinales has had a late change of heart on his front tyre selection.
Well, there we go. Marc Marquez leads that World Championship, but it could not be closer than it is. Dylan.
Yeah, sorry to butt in, guys. Just wanted to say that we have some breaking news with Maverick Vinales' tyre. He has decided to go for the harder option front, so he's gone from a medium front up to the hard, but he is staying with that soft rear.
Well spotted, Matt Burr. He saw the tyre coming. I didn't know if it was actually going to go in or not. What a season Andrea Dovizioso has had. 3 wins, 2nd in the World Championship. Great memories of the British Grand Prix 2009, that very first Premier Class victory, albeit at Donington Park. Now, Alvaro Bautista, who we spoke to, taking a bit of a gamble on the tyres, his 250th Grand Prix, and a former pole setter. I think it's the only pole position he got in the Premier Class, Alvaro Bautista.
Yeah, and like he said, he's gone for that soft option rear tyre. When he talked to Dylan on the grid, he's got nothing to lose. When you're starting from 14th place, you've got to be aggressive and try and make up places very, very quickly at the start of the race. The only way you can do that is put that soft option rear tyre, and you can't wait for the hard to come in at about a 3rd race distance. So Alvaro Bautista does feel, though he's done racing distance on that soft option rear tyre, that it could be good to last him for the whole race. So we'll see how many places he can pick up very early on, Bautista, with that soft option rear tyre fitted.
Well, this is Scott Redding. He will start from the middle of the 4th row with Jonas Folger now out in 11th place. And Andrea Iannone, well, I think he surprised us all by leading the way, and leading the way very competently in the morning warm-up. But Davide Brio, the team manager, did issue a warning, didn't he? Race pace is nothing like the pace that he could do in the warm-up. Let's wait and see.
No top 6 finish as yet for Suzuki. He'll be hoping to put that record straight. What about the future of this man, Hector Barbera, who seems to have really gambled? Dylan saying that he's gone for the soft front and the soft rear. Talking about riders who've got nothing to lose, riding for his Grand Prix future. The Reale Vinci Ducati team seem like they might be going for a completely new lineup next season. We know Tito Rabat looks like he's been more than penciled in for one of those rides, and with big stories or big rumours about Xavier Simeon taking that ride, Loris Baz and Hector Barbera may be out on the open market.
Here is Jack Miller, the Australian, of course, will be switching to the Pramac Ducati team next season. He's 6th row of the grid, he's qualified 16th. Dylan.
Yeah, guys, let's quickly talk with Yamaha about Maverick Vinales' tyre choice down here with Mayo Meregali. Mayo, soft option rear tyre, everyone up here has decided to go for the hard. Why is that?
Anyway, he got a good feeling. We did on Friday we did basically we covered all the distance. The wear of the tire was good. Also today in the warm-up I felt great, and also the wear was nice, and we think that we could race with the soft.
Are you not worried about this extra temperature?
It's a choice, and we will see at the end of the race.
Finally, are we going to see Maverick, though, having to push really hard from the start, a bit like Johan Zarco, say, when he tried in Le Mans?
For me, he has to try to manage the tire because anyway, as you said, the temperature is quite higher compared this morning and Friday. But I think he already tried this morning with good success. So let's see how it's going to go.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mayo.
Let battle commence. Vinales wins his third Grand Prix of the season.
Dovizioso in dreamland.
2 in a row, big championship contender.
Touchdown Zark on the inside. Oh, Vinales has crashed. Rossi then takes the lead back at the Timmer chicane.
His 115th Grand Prix victory.
Marquez is back in the lead.
The new leader of the 2017 Marquez in. Marc Marquez wins here in Bruno. Here we go.
Dovizioso versus Marquez.
Marquez is going to get the hammer down.
Dovizioso up the inside of Marquez.
He's right with Dovizioso. Marquez 6 months getting up the inside. Marquez coming again.
So here we go, Marquez, they almost done. Dovizioso stands firm. Dovizioso's going to win here in Austria.
Ducati have done it again. What is next? Well, you are about to find out. Glorious summer's afternoon here at Silverstone in England. Round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship, the 18-round championship. Andrea Dovizioso won that last race. He's on to the second row of the grid. Alongside him, his teammate Jorge Lorenzo and Maverick Vinales. Front row of the grid for this crucial race. Third fastest, to the delight of the crowd, Cal Crutchlow on the LCR Honda. In the middle of the front row, the 2015 winner, Valentino Rossi. And in pole, for the 4th time in succession, Marc Marquez. So, a warm welcome back to Silverstone in England, round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship. I'm Nick Harris, alongside me Matt Burt, down in pit lane, Dylan Gray.
Front row, Marc Marquez, the World Championship leader, ahead of Valentino Rossi in his 300th Premier Class start, and the home crowd favourite, Cal Crutchlow. Row 2, Maverick Vinales rolling the dice with that soft option Michelin rear tyre, and the 2 factory Ducatis, Lorenzo and Dovizioso in that top 6.
Row 3, Danny Pedrosa, Johan Zarco and Aleix Espargaro in pain from that rib injury. Paul Espargaro, Scott Redding and Alex Rins, row 4.
Row 5, headed by Alvaro Bautista, his 250th Grand Prix start. Andrea Iannone, fastest in the warm this morning, and Hector Barber on that row 5. Miller, Petrucci and Bradley Smith on your 6th row of the grid. Carol Abraham, Loris Baz and Tito Rabat on row 7, and Sam Lowes heading back to Moto2 next year with the Intervetted team. He's all on his own on row 8. Bit of breaking news about Jonas Folger, of course. If you joined us this morning for the warm-up, he did have a big crash going into the Stowe corner, and he's on his way to hospital just for a precautionary CT scan. It seems like he is okay, but just as a precaution, the doctors wanted to get Folger to undergo a CT scan, which he's undertaking right now. So we wish Folger well.
Feel the tension, feel the excitement, feel the heat, even here in England. The final sighting lap at this legendary venue into one of the legendary corners in Grand Prix racing, Copse Corner. Look at the weather. I'll be in England, Matt.
Quick take a photo. It says 25 degrees centigrade for the British Grand Prix. Can't wait for this, Nick. I think we're going to be in for an absolutely cracking race. Marquez and Crutchlow on paper seem like they got the superior race pace. Has Rossi got yet another trick up his sleeve in his landmark 300th appearance? And what about Maverick Vinales, gambling somewhat? The only one of the main championship contenders, the only man in the top 6 that's gone for that soft option rear tyre. Vinales has got to get really aggressive at the start of this race. He said yesterday that he would base his rear tyre choice purely on what he feels will give him less spin in the last third. Now, you would think that that would be probably the medium or the hard, but that's why it seems like a bit of a gamble.
Valentino Rossi's 300th Premier Class start. 35% of the Grand Prix in the Premier Class since 1949 have been contested by Valentino Rossi, who won his first ever Premier Class Grand Prix 17 years ago, the British Grand Prix at Donington Park. Dylan, What do you reckon?
Well, absolutely perfect conditions. I cannot remember a race here just like it, and I think, as you guys said, it's going to be so exciting because, yes, Marquez Crutchlow up there, but with Vinales having to push so hard early on, it's going to be so fascinating. I just want to mention one thing to our TV viewers. Vinales' rear soft tyre doesn't have a white marking on the left-hand side, so don't get confused. It's definitely not a medium. If you see it from there, he really does have the soft option rear.
Many thanks, Dylan. The crowd are ready. Viewers throughout the world still probably shaking from the last round of the championship. An amazing race in Austria 14 days ago. And Marc Marquez is ready, defending a 16-point lead in the World Championship.
So the warm-up lap almost completed here at a very warm British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Can Cal Crutchlow create history? Can Marc Marquez extend his World Championship lead? What about Valentino Rossi, a big favourite here with the British fans? He took his first ever victory in the Premier Class 17 years ago in the British Grand Prix at Donington Park.
Only rider to lap under 2 minutes of the Silverstone circuit on 2 wheels. Marc Marquez. Marquez, Rossi, and the home favourite, Cal Crutchlow. Round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship. This is cricket weather, but this is not cricket. This is MotoGP.
Off we go then here at Silverstone. Look like Cal Crutchlow got a pretty good start away from that front of the grid. Jorge Lorenzo's getting aggressive up the inside, but Rossi's got the whole shot. Valentino Rossi leads and it is 300th Premier Class start. Rossi away from Marc Marquez. Crutchlow back into 3rd place. Vinales is 4th. Johan Zarco also trying to find his way through at Maggots, but Rossi leads.
Rossi through Maggots, coming up towards Chapel Curve, onto the hanger straight for the first time, down towards the Stowe corner. Just the start, obviously, Rossi wanted. Keep an eye out, though, for Maverick Vinales on that softer option rear tyre. Here they come, down to Stowe for the first time.
Is anybody going to get a slipstream on that run down to the Stowe corner? Yes, Maverick Vinales pounces immediately up the inside of Cal Crutchlow. He's got to do this, Maverick Vinales, with that soft option rear tyre on. How long will that give him good grip in this 20-lap race? But Vinales already on the charge. He's picked off Crutchlow.
Down into the club complex. It's the left, then the right, and it brings them into the international pit straight. This is where the Formula One cars start from, up towards the Abbey Curve. Rossi leads the way at Silverstone.
Rossi from Marquez, then Vinales not close enough to attack Marquez at the Abbey corner. Through farm then for the first time. We know that the front row starters, oh, big moment there for Marquez. He got that hard option rear tyre lit up as he came through farm. He was out of the seat, flicked out the seat there was Marquez. That was so close to disaster for the Spaniard.
Round the loop, slowest corner, the left-hander of this Silverstone circuit, through the Aintree corner, onto the Wellington straight. Moment there for Marquez. Vinales, you imagine, will try and pounce at some stage, but Crutchlow right on his rear tyre as they break for Brooklands. The 9 times world champion leads.
That's a warning for Marc Marquez. He was pushing too hard on that hard option rear tyre on Friday when he had that massive crash going into Maggots and Beckers. That was an early warning sign then for Marc Marquez. Perhaps just got to be a little bit more patient. Take an optimum working temperature in that hard option rear tyre. Lap 1 about to be completed. It's Valentino Rossi from Marquez, Vinales, then it's Cal Crutchlow, Lorenzo and Dovizioso, the 2 factory Ducatis slugging it out for 4th or 5th. Dovizioso makes his move at Copse Corner, so Dovizioso now on the move. He's up into 5th place.
Yeah, we ride with Jorge Lorenzo. There is his teammate Andrea Dovizioso, who won that last round in Austria a couple of weeks ago through this Maggots, Beckett, Chapel complex. Absolutely superb place to watch Grand Prix motorcycle racing in the sunshine, and they pop out at Chapel Curve onto the hanger straight. 1.5 laps gone. Rossi leads the way, as you can see. And Vinales, yes, just holding off Crutchlow, who in turn now is coming under pressure from Dovizioso.
He really is. Big shout out as well so far to Paul Espargaro. Fantastic job. He's circulating in 8th place on that factory KTM, keeping Johan Zarco at bay. Zarco's really struggled to get away and not be as aggressive as he would have wanted in these early laps. That was Dovizioso getting it a little bit wide. Cal Crutchlow's got the inside line through Club. That's going to be mighty tight. The 2 former teammates almost have contact through Club.
Up towards the Abbey curve they come. There's a rare old battle between Crutchlow and Davizioso. Watching in the best seat in the house, Jorge Lorenzo currently running in 6th place.
Zarco's having a look up the inside of Pol Espargaro down into the village corner. I think Zarco made it stick. If he did, he's up into 8th place, the Frenchman. He was definitely having a look up the inside of Espargaro on that KTM.
This is through the farm curve up to turn 13. Turn 13 is where Marquez went down.
He's having a look
towards Brooklands. Here comes Vinales. No, not quite tight enough. Davizioso. It's bumpy through Brooklands, isn't it? You've got to be so careful on the brakes. Pol Espargaro had a big crash in the KTM there yesterday.
Well, Zarco had a lunge on Espargaro at village corner and he couldn't make it through. Espargaro holding firm, then the Frenchman wasn't able to find his way through. There they are. That's the battle at the moment for 8th and 9th place. Rossi's advantage at the end of lap 2 is almost a second. Valentino Rossi sets a 2:02.122. Vinales up the inside of Marquez. That's at the Copse corner, so Vinales up into 2nd place. The fastest man on track last time around was Alex Rins at 2:02.112.
So Vinales now up into 2nd place. Rossi is setting one hell of a pace at the front. The race winner here 2 years ago in very, very different conditions.
It looks like Rossi, Nick, has just got that hard option rear tyre working better. He's got it up to temperature quicker than the guys on the Ducati and the Hondas. Vinales knows that, and with that soft option rear tyre on, he can't afford to let Rossi get away. Double-edged sword this as Davizioso fights back on Crutchlow again at the Stowe corner. Double-edged sword for Vinales. He's got to attack to try and get into that lead group or hunt down Rossi. But at the back of his mind, he won't want to be pushing too hard because he's burning up that rear tyre and he might be facing some major wheel spin issues in the second half of the race.
There is Scott Redding and Alex Rins, who has set that fastest lap of the race so far.
Zarco has picked his way through on Pol Espargaro finally, so Johan Zarco's got a bit of clear track in front of him to try and hunt down Dani Pedrosa.
Through the Abbey curve they came, and you can see the advantage that Valentino Rossi has prized over. Vinales has taken the gamble, his teammate, on that softer rear tyre, and he will want to close the gap on Rossi, who's got that harder option. Had a moment already for Marc Marquez, and he's settled more into a rhythm now in 3rd place. Davizioso has got past Cal Crutchlow.
Yeah, Rossi's got that hard rear tyre working better at this stage of the race than the Hondas and the Ducatis. The problem is, we know in the second half of races this year, the Yamaha has suffered from major wheel spin problems, certainly in the 4th sector around this Silverstone circuit as well. Marquez can't find his way through on Vinales. Is he lining up an attack at Luffield? He won't be close enough. Vinales will slam the door shut in his face.
But if Vinales is really going to make progress, you'd think he'd start pulling away a little bit from Marc Marquez, and that is not the case, as the pair of them, both former winners here in the smaller classes and in MotoGP, go through Woodcote and across
fastest
the line.
lap again from Rossi at 2:01.855. That is a new lap record, a new record set by Valentino Rossi. Dani Pedrosa's 4-year-old 2:01.941 has been beaten by Valentino Rossi. Exhibition stuff at the moment from the 38-year-old.
Amazing stuff from Valentino Rossi, his 300th Premier Class Grand Prix. Well over a third of the Grand Prix in the Premier Class have been competed by the 38-year-old, and he leads the way, and that's the gap he's got as they come down towards the Stowe corner.
How much though is Rossi overstressing that rear tyre? That's been his major problem over the last few races. We saw in Austria, we've seen in a few races so far this year. In the first half, when he's got good grip, Rossi can hang into that lead group, but we know Yamaha's issues this year has been over-abusing that rear tyre in the latter stages of the race. It's going to be fascinating to see Rossi's tyre management here. He's built up a lead of almost 1.2 seconds. Can he keep it together?
It's going to be a crucial last third of the race. It's a very hot afternoon here at Silverstone. This is Maverick Vinales in 2nd place. He's gone for that softer tyre option.
Yeah, just a bit of daylight as well, finally. Vinales opening up on Marc Marquez. Marquez getting in a little bit squirrely on the brakes down to the village corner as well. He's coming under attack from Andrea Dovizioso. Of course, these are the top 2 men in the World Championship. Marquez has the advantage over Dovizioso by 16 points.
Down the Wellington straight they come, onto the back straight. Into Brooklands corner. It's a difficult, bumpy left-hander. Look at the gap, it's pretty constant at the moment. Tyre wear. Valentino Rossi has got the experience to manage the tyre wear, but the history with the Yamaha this season suggests that it's very difficult indeed. And you've got to say that Vinales hasn't really opened up a big enough gap on the pursuing pack with that softer option rear.
New lap record to Vinales. New lap record. Rossi had the lap record for one lap, a 2:01.638 then from Maverick Vinales. He took 0.3 of a second out of Rossi on that last lap around. The gap now down to just over 0.8 of a second. And Vinales all the time will be dragging the likes of Marquez, Dovizioso and Crutchlow with him. It looks like Lorenzo and Pedrosa are really struggling to go with that second group.
We ride with Cal Crutchlow, that is Andrea Dovizioso in front of him. Crutchlow are currently running in 5th place. Under the bridge they come, down towards Stoke Corner. There is still 15.5 laps to go.
Yeah, last time around, Vinales, Marquez, Dovizioso and Crutchlow were all a couple of tenths faster than Valentino Rossi at the front of this race.
The pack is coming, the cavalry are arriving. There may not be a lot that Valentino Rossi can do about it.
Pedrosa and Lorenzo, you can quite clearly see they are struggling. In fact, Johan Zarco's making big inroads into hunting down Danny Pedrosa. The gap between Pedrosa and Zarco, about 0.8 of a second when they came over the line to start this lap number 5. Crutchlow not close enough to get up the inside of Dovizioso at the village corner. Andrea Dovizioso, one of the latest breakers in this MotoGP field. If you're going to lunge up the inside of Dovizioso, you've got to make sure it's going to stick, because he is absolutely brilliant on the brakes.
This race is just beginning. Okay, Rossi has done a fantastic
simmering
job,
nicely, isn't it?
Simmering absolutely beautifully. You've got to say that trio there with a harder choice of tyres, that's a Marquez, Dovizioso and Crutchlow, quite nicely placed at the moment.
Yeah, keeping a close eye on the progress of this young man. Johan Zarco circulating in 8th place. Paul Espargaro's getting a little bit swallowed up at the moment. He really threw the kitchen sink at it in those first laps, but he's been swallowed up by Alex Rins and Scott Redding, and he's under real pressure as well from Andrea Iannone.
There is Scott Redding. This is into Cox Corner. Paul Espargaro, got a good glimpse of there. Andrea Iannone alongside him. Paul Espargaro, as Matt said, has just slipped down to 11th place. His teammate Bradley Smith running in 16th, so that will be a lot more encouraging after the disappointments of late. And Scott Redding wanted it cooler, probably wanted it damper, didn't he? These hot conditions don't suit him.
Yeah, Paul Espargaro struggling early on here. He's dropped into the 2:03s last time around as Dovizioso pounces at the end of the hanger straight. He was using that Ducati grunt, the Ducati horsepower, to blitz by Marc Marquez's Honda. He got great drive coming out of Chapel Curve, and Andrea Dovizioso then ahead of the World Championship leader into 3rd place.
Into Club Corner, left and right, then into the International pit straight. 14.5 laps to go here at Silverstone. We're nowhere like half distance yet. This has got a long way to run. We ride with Dovizioso.
Sam Lowes has crashed out of his home Grand Prix. Unfortunately, not the first time we've said that this year. Sam Lowes crashed out of the race. Confirmation on your screens there. Will Marc Marquez be able to retaliate immediately? Not at the village corner then. So Dovizioso setting about his charge towards the 2 factory Yamaha men. It's still Rossi by a gap of 0.8 of a second over Vinales. It's stayed at about 0.8 for the last couple of laps since Vinales fired in that new lap record.
Down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands.
You're not going to out-drag that Ducati coming down the Wellington straight. If Dovizioso gets good drive coming out of the Aintree corner, there's nothing that Marquez can do. The top speed of the Ducati, it's just unrivaled. Live Championship, throw the checkered flag out now, and Andrea Dovizioso goes to Misano. His home race in 2 weeks' time, just 13 points behind Marc Marquez, but we've still got 14 laps to go here at Silverstone. It's on the boil, it's boiling up lovely, this British Grand Prix. There's a lot more drama to come in these final 14 laps.
Certainly is, and we watch Cal Crutchlow go through Copse Corner. Rossi leads the way, there's Vinales, Dovizioso with Marquez right on his tail. Marquez had a massive crash here on Friday afternoon at Beckett's Corner. He crawled away, stood up, but he really did give his left thigh a fair old whack.
Dovizioso needed to fire in his fastest lap of the race, a 2:01.738 to dispense to Marc Marquez last time around. Just see the top speed, the horsepower performance of that Ducati. Marquez just cannot get in the slipstream down the hanger straight. The difference, 10 kilometres an hour, that just shows you. Andrea Dovizioso with such an advantage. You don't have to take any risks in the corners to make your moves. You can just bide your time and wait to do your passes. on the Hanger Straight and the Wellington Straight. It's such a key advantage that the Ducati has.
Closes right up onto the rear wheel of the Ducati Marquez as they come through the second part of the club chicane. The international pit straight up towards the Abbey curve. And again, the grunt of the Ducati just opens up the gap. When they come into the corner, you can see Marquez close it up. It's his fast left hand of the farm corner. And now turn 13. This is where Marc Marquez had his second crash on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, Marc Marquez, he can't relax, can he? Because he's got Cal Crutchlow swarming all over his rear tyre. Jorge Lorenzo just about holding off Dani Pedrosa in that battle for 6th place.
Valentino Rossi has led since the start. He led into Cops Corner. He leads the way coming down towards Brooklands.
Yeah, and that's where the gap's been at for 2 or 3 laps now. 0.8 of a second through Luffield then for the 7th time. We're just coming up to about just over a third race distance then now.
And I don't know whether you guys saw, he has BRK on his pit board. That means change engine brake map. So it'll be interesting to see how his lap times are going to change after that.
So Rossi into Copse. Crutchlow all over the rear wheel there of Marquez. But I think they'll be happy to stay firm there at the moment. Rossi's not getting away. Vinales is not really closing on Rossi. They've got those harder option rear tyres, Crutchlow, Marquez and Dovizioso, and we're not even at half distance yet. They're quite happy where they are.
Maverick Vinales having a nibble again at Rossi. Just took a 10th out of his lead last time around, got it down to just over 7/10 of a second. Hasn't been able to make any, well, break it down to under half a second yet, that gap to Rossi. They've come through that first set yet, still 7/10 of a second.
This is Crutchlow through Stowe. Then Vale down towards the club at chicane.
The top 5 then all in the 201s, the high 201s, the only other man on track in those high 201s. Keep an eye on him, Johan Zarco. A personal best lap of the race last time around, a 201.902, and he is starting to get the hooks into Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa right now. There he is, just at the top of your screen, sweeping through the club corner.
We ride with the race leader, Valentino Rossi, making his 300th Premier Class Grand Prix appearance. Can he celebrate it with a victory?
We've still...
Here's the gap. It's a 10th here and a 10th there, isn't it?
We've still got to get into that territory of the race where we've seen Yamaha's big weakness this year come to the fore. Right now, the Yamaha should still be having good grip. What's going to be so intriguing, so fascinating and so essential to the outcome of this race is in those final 5 or 6 laps in terms of the rear grip that the Yamaha's got. Rossi's still doing a fantastic job of holding that lead of around 7 to 8/10 of a second.
Through Luffield, the right-hander that leads into Woodcut. When they cross the line, there'll still be 12 laps to go of this 20-lap race. And they are absolutely what Mac is saying. You look at the graphic. He's holding it around 7 and 8/10 of a second the whole time, but we're not in the danger time as far as tyres go. Look out for Johan Zarco. Yeah, he's got 2 men in his sight. That's usually bad news for them.
He's right in the groove, Zarco. He was the fastest man on the track last time around. Another PB lap, a 2:01.7 from the Flying Frenchman. Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa are going to have a very, very big problem with that monster Yamaha Tech 3 machine very soon.
Here they go. There is Lorenzo Pedrosa right behind him, and here is Zarco. Of course, a race winner here a couple of years ago in the Moto2 class. Closes right up on Dani Pedrosa. Back at the front is very much the same story. Rossi really is riding the perfect race at the moment at the front.
It's been faultless, absolutely faultless. He has not put a foot wrong so far, Valentino Rossi. I hope that's not the commentator's curse, but he's needed to be absolutely riding to perfection because he's coming under real pressure from Vinales, Dovizioso, Marquez and Crutchlow. But he's just lapping so consistently, Rossi. They can't get too close, although last time around it was down just under, or just over half a second. Rossi's taken a 10th back in Sector 2, but the chasing pack are looming large.
We ride with Cal Crutchlow. In front of him is Marc Marquez. He's just got a glimpse there. The red of Andre Dovizioso. So Crutchlow really thought about it that time round, but probably a little bit too early in the race to take too many risks.
One at the back of Crutchlow's mind is he will not be wanting to take any risk overtaking Marc Marquez. He's a fellow Honda rider, he's the World Championship leader. If Crutchlow's going to find a way through on Marc Marquez, you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to make sure it's a clean and safe pass. As the man charging through the back is Zarco. He's taking Danny Pedrosa, so Zarco up into 7th place now.
Yeah, and Zarco now will get chasing after Jorge Lorenzo in front of him.
And we know he's on the same spec tyres as those two around him, is Johan Zarco. He's on the hard combination. If anybody can nurse the tyres home, he's such a silky smooth rider, is Johan Zarco. So there he is in 7th place. Scott Running's having a good charge as well. He's just put in his personal best lap of the race, a 2:02.2. In fact, that was half a second quicker than Zarco.
11 laps to go. We're not even at half distance. Round 18 of the MotoGP World Championship. All the usual men are up there. It's not a race of frantic overtaking. It's a race of tactics and tyre management at the moment.
Jorge Lorenzo must be so frustrated. You can see this great battle unfolding just ahead of him on track, but his lap times are almost identical to the pack in front of me. He's just lost that contact though. He's 2.4 seconds behind Cal Crutchlow, and they're lapping at an almost identical pace. There's still time to go, but you can't see Lorenzo at this stage getting back into contention. It's still as you were then, halfway through lap number 10. We're just about to come over half race distance.
Onto the international pit straight. That's the gap. You can see it. There is Rossi, Viñales, Dovizioso, Marquez and Crutchlow.
Yeah, Rossi's lead at this stage has not yet been under half a second. He's been able to manage that gap quite brilliantly so far. It's Cal Crutchlow just struggling to go with the pace of those 4 guys in front of him. He's wide there at the village corner as well, Cal Crutchlow. He looks like he's really having to fight tooth and nail to hang into this battle for the podium.
Onto the Wellington straight. There will be half a distance when they cross the line. This is coming down towards Club through the Vale corner.
Smoke pouring off that left boot. Look at that. It's going to be getting pretty warm on the sole of that boot right now.
It is, but when you haven't got your back wheel on the ground, you need a bit of stability braking that hard, don't you?
Oh, he's got back through on Dovizioso as well, Marquez. But Dovizioso sweeps brilliantly back up the inside. He got the drive coming out of Woodcut. Marc Marquez set the fastest lap of the race, a new lap record on that lap of 2:01.560, but he might have just gone a little bit wide coming out of Woodcut, and that let Dovizioso snap straight back.
Half race distance, 10 laps to go. The fun and games are about to start.
You're absolutely right, Nick. Bang on the money for the first time in this Grand Prix. Valentino Rossi's lead has been cut to under half a second.
And guys, there is word from down here in the paddock that some teams are actually worried about fuel consumption. So of course some teams might have actually been just trying to save a little bit at the start, whereas we don't know, maybe Valentino Rossi decided to actually use his bigger half early on.
Well, Marquez got Dovizioso on the brakes going into Brooklands, and then Dovizioso was able to strike straight back. He got brilliant drive coming out of that Woodcote corner, and by the time they got to Copse, he was already through on that factory Ducati.
9.5 laps to go into the international pit straight. They come up towards the Abbey curb. The leading group, it tells us, and Dovizioso up the inside of Viñales, and he has made it stick.
Brilliant move by Dovizioso coming through. Ali Viñales though's having none of it. He's fighting back through the village corner. Classic block pass by the Spanish rider. Dovizioso will try and fight back through the loop, and he does make it stick. What an epic fight going on here. Wheel to wheel between Dovizioso, Viñales, Marquez and Crutchlow in the fight for second place. This is music to Valentino Rossi's ears while that quartet behind him start carving each other up, swapping paint and bashing elbows. This is giving Rossi the chance to open up his lead. In fact, Rossi took 0.3 of a second out of this group, fighting for second. This is absolutely awesome for Rossi.
Yeah, Viñales has taken Dovizioso back down at Brooklands to come through Luffield, up through Woodcut. Remember last time round, Dovizioso got great drive out of here. The drive actually carried him into Copse, and he got up the inside of Viñales. Can he do it again? Rossi into Copse. Here comes Dovizioso. He has done it again.
Yeah, and that flurry of overtakes between Viñales and Dovizioso through Abbey, Farm and then the village and the loop, it gave Rossi half a second. He came over the line last time around 0.4 clear. over the line this time, 9/10 clear. So that jostling for second place cost this chasing pack half a second on Rossi.
9 points would be the championship difference if these positions remain the same. I can promise you one thing, they will not remain the same. That is an absolute certainty as they race down at around 320 kilometres an hour, 330 kilometres an hour, down towards Stowe Corner.
See, Rossi can just keep his rhythm. Nobody's impeding him with that clear track. He hasn't got to work out where to make a move and do it. Vinales swoops to the inside, thought about a move up the inside of Dovizioso going down into the club complex, but Dovizioso, we know, is so late on the brakes. There was no way through for Vinales. At the moment, Vinales is soft option rear tyre hanging right in there at this stage of the race.
Here we come, up towards the Abbey curve. Dovizioso just by a fingernail hanging
Marquez on Vinales.
At farm. Yes. And now up towards the village corner. This is where Marquez went down on Friday afternoon. Marquez now up into 3rd place.
And of course, while these four are scrapping, not only is it giving Rossi the chance to maintain that pretty comfortable as a lead as it can be when you've got those guys hounding you from behind, it's also allowing Jorge Lorenzo and Johan Zarco to come back into contention for the podium. Lorenzo last time around did a 2:01.9, his best lap of the race. He was the fastest man on track. He was almost 6 7/10 of a lap quicker than those riders in front of him. Lorenzo's battle for the podium still might be on course.
Rossi crosses the line. 8 laps to go here at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Can he do it? Gap of 7/10 of a second.
So for the first time in this race, everybody in that top 8 have dropped into the 2:02s. So the tyre just starting to deteriorate ever so slightly. Rossi a 2:02.2 last time around, Dovizioso a 2:02 flat. So now it's Dovizioso picking up the gauntlet to try and hunt down Valentino Rossi. Look at that, nothing between the lap times at all. What about Vinales? 8 laps to go. Is he just running out of a bit of drive grip, a bit of edge grip on that soft option rear tyre?
Could well be the case, and will Cal Crutchlow pick him off as they come into Stowe? No, but he does close up on him. 7.5 laps to go. Can Valentino Rossi, on his 300th Premier Class appearance, win here in the sunshine at Silverstone?
Dovizioso's taken 2/10 out of Rossi already in the first sector on this lap number 13. They'll click the second sector now as they sweep through the club corner. What's the gap between Rossi and Dovizioso? It stays at just over half a second.
Up to that Abbey curve they come, then through the farm corner, the fast left-hander. Rossi has led from the first time they rushed into the Copse corner. Dovizioso, fresh from that victory just 2 weeks ago in Austria, second in the World Championship. Marc Marquez leading the World Championship. Maverick Vinales with that softer option rear tyre, hanging on by his fingernails at the moment. Cal Crutchlow just fighting to stay in this particular battle.
Visibly, you can see that gap coming down between Rossi, Dovizioso and Marquez. You're right, Nick, it looks like that top 3 are starting to break away from Vinales and Crutchlow. Maverick Vinales dropping out of podium contention here. It was a gamble to run that soft rear tyre. Is it a gamble that's not going to pay off as they sweep through Luffield? Woodcote left to negotiate. 7 laps to go here in Silverstone. The gap between Rossi and Dovizioso at the start of lap number 14. It's just over 4/10 of a second. That's the smallest it's been for the whole race.
How is Valentino Rossi's rear tyre? This is in the past this season. This is where we've seen the problems arrive at this stage of the race.
Yeah,
Dovizioso is hunting him down and he's bringing Marc Marquez along.
Yeah, and Dovizioso, Marquez last time around were able to dip back into the high 2:01, so 2:01.8 for the pair of them, just 0.02 of a second last time. Split Dovizioso and Marquez. The only man who's running that pace further down the field is Johan Zarco, who is now clawing all over the back of Jorge Lorenzo.
Oh, blown engine is it for Marc Marquez?
Disaster for Marquez. Major technical problem for the factory Honda rider. What a massive moment in the World Championship for Marc Marquez. There's fluid on the rear tyre of Marc Marquez's factory Honda. That is game over for Marc Marquez. What a massive moment in the World Championship.
Andrea Dovizioso should take over the lead in the World Championship. Did he drop anything actually on the track? Suddenly a puff of smoke. Marc Marquez's dreams have gone up in smoke. he will lose the lead in the World Championship. There you go, live championship.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that? I can count on one hand the amount of mechanical failures you've seen a factory Honda have over the last few years. Now, if Andrea Dovizioso gets through on Valentino Rossi, there are more World Championship points at stake here. Rossi's going to get the pit board straight away that Marquez KO. Marquez is out of the British Grand Prix. Drama here, and they know in the factory Ducati garage, the live championship now, Dovizioso already leading Marquez by 4 points. He could be going to his home race in Misano with a 9-point buffer over Marc Marquez, potentially a massive 25-point swing in the championship.
Out Marquez. They are telling Andrea Dovizioso, I think he smelled the blimmin' smoke as he was behind him. Into Copse they come. Dovizioso is hunting him down. Rossi, Dovizioso, Vinales, Crutchlow, Zarco, Lorenzo Pedrosa. Scott Redding now in 8th place. Rins 9th. And Alvaro Bautista could cross the line in 10th.
So Marquez, an engine blow up as he was fighting for the podium here at the British Grand Prix. That is cruel in the extreme for Marc Marquez. A massive dent for his championship challenge. He'd taken 70 out of the last 75 points off the grabs to assume control of this World Championship. It's the Italian job now. Rossi versus Dovizioso for victory in the British Grand Prix. They both won at the British Grand Prix before. Dovizioso never here at Silverstone, but they know what it's like to win on these shores.
He's lining up Rossi all the time, Dovizioso, but how big a risk does he take? Because he will retake the lead in the World Championship, even if he's in 2nd place. But he's got a great opportunity to make it Grand Prix victory number 4 for Ducati this season.
Can you believe it? Andrea Dovizioso has won 3 times in the last 6 Grand Prix. He'd won only 2 of his previous 165 in the MotoGP World Championship. He could be on course for a 4th win of the season. And let's not completely rule out Maverick Vinales and Cal Crutchlow, who are also smelling a victory here at Silverstone. Maverick Vinales has been in that position before. He won here last year.
We ride with...
Look at that, and there's going to be 12 points with Marquez's cruel exit with that major mechanical problem. The top 4 in the championship going into round 13. Yes, round 13 could be split by just 12 points.
Through Brooklands into Luffield. Don't rule out Cal Crutchlow.
He's all over the back of Vinales.
Yeah, I think he knows he's got to get past Maverick Vinales. Would he try it? Well, I'm sure he won't try and come through Woodcote, but he might try and get the drive through Woodcote to get him at Copse. This is Zarco having a brilliant ride in 6th place.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Vinales and Crutchlow are on the charge here. Marquez's departure's almost given them a 2nd win. Last time around, Vinales was almost half a second quicker than Dovizioso. And Cal Crutchlow probably thinks he's got to make a move fairly sharpish to get through on Vinales. The theory is that Crutchlow should have the superior rear grip at this stage of the race with that hard option rear tyre on. Vinales, I've got to say, with the soft rear tyre, is doing an absolutely incredible job to keep the British rider at bay.
Down the hanger straight they come towards Stowe Corner. Dovizioso hunting down Valentino Rossi, who has led the race throughout. This is Crutchlow and Vinales. Glorious afternoon, baking hot weather, crowd just relishing another brilliant MotoGP race.
Valentino Rossi has not won a Grand Prix from 2nd place on the grid since Qatar 7 years ago in 2010. And he's going to have to do it the hard way because Andrea Dovizioso, Maverick Vinales and Cal Crutchlow are not going to give him 1 moment's rest in these final 4.5 laps.
Turn 18, the legendary Woodcote Corner. Legendary riders going through it. Valentino Rossi and Andrea Dovizioso. It's a brilliant ride by Rossi, isn't it? Can he do it? Has he managed the tyres to enable him to stay in front? And if Dovizioso gets past him, can he have another nibble at him? Down to Brooklands they come. There will be 4 laps to go as they come through Luffield into Woodcote. We ride with Cal Crutchlow.
Don't want to jinx Rossi, but the last time he led a Grand Prix on the last lap, he crashed out in Le Mans, of course, after that epic fight with his teammate Maverick Vinales. We're about to click off another lap of this epic British Grand Prix. 4 laps to go here at Silverstone. It's anyone from 4. Rossi, Dovizioso, Vinales and Crutchlow. There's just 0.7 of a second splitting that quartet as they sweep through Copse.
3 podium positions between 4 riders, down through Maggots, Beckett's, and then the Chapel Curve. And then they will launch themselves down the Hanger Straight towards the Stowe corner. Dovizioso is the thinking man's rider. He's waiting and waiting, certain he knows Marquez is out. But I've got to say, Vinales is right on his tail now. It's going to make life even more difficult for him. Here comes Dovizioso. He thought about it at Stowe.
Yeah, even with that Ducati grunt, he can't get into the slipstream of Rossi down the Hanger Straight. They drop down through Vale. There is tension. You could cut the atmosphere with a knife in pit lane right now. This is going to be massive for the World Championship, in particular with Marc Marquez, a retirement after a blown engine on his factory Honda. Through Club Corner they come then on lap number 17. Rossi, Dovizioso, Vinales and Crutchlow putting up an absolute epic battle of Britain here.
We're coming into the Abbey Curve. We ride with the man that's led the race throughout, Valentino Rossi. Right in his face, number 4, Andrea Dovizioso on the Ducati. Just behind him, Maverick Vinales, 3rd in the championship, 3 times Grand Prix winner this season. And at the back of the pack, British hero, Cal Crutchlow.
Nobody as yet has been close enough to show Valentino Rossi a front wheel in this race. As Nick said, once he got the whole shot, a brilliant electric start from 2nd on the grid. Nobody has been able to get the better of Rossi. Dovizioso, he's not going to be close enough going down into the Brooklands corner this time around.
We ride with Rossi through Brooklands and now into Luffield, the right-hander. This in turn leads into Woodcote. He gets really good drive out of here, Dovizioso on the Ducati. Will he have his first real attempt up at Copse? It's a brave move if he does, but there will be only 3 laps to go when they cross the line. He's not close enough.
It's in that 4th sector as well where Rossi struggles for drive grip. He gets a lot of wheel spin in that sector 4. He said that's what cost him pole position yesterday. A little bit too much wheel spin through Brooklands, Luffield and Woodcote. Dovizioso himself getting that Ducati spinning up on the rear tyre. He was lighting up that hard option Michelin rear as he got on the gas coming through Copse. It got unsettled on the bumps as well. 3 laps to go. It's bubbling up absolutely beautifully here at the British Grand Prix.
The time has come to put your cards on the table. Time is running out. Down to Stowe. Has Dovizioso got the grunt with the Ducati?
He has.
Get up the inside, he's done it. Rossi has been overtaken for the first time in this race and runs it a bit wide and tucks in behind Dovizioso.
Oh, that was like a game of dare on the brakes there. Who dared leave their braking latest? You can see Rossi was just trying to tempt Dovizioso into a mistake, but Dovizioso then for the first time in the British Grand Prix, he leads the way as they come through Club Corner. 2.5 laps to go. What's Rossi got left in response? This could be a monumental win in terms of the championship for Andrea Dovizioso, bidding for his 4th of the year. Has he got the speed and the rhythm to break up the pack?
Through the farm curve they come, up towards the village corner. Dovizioso leads the way for the first time. Valentino Rossi not leading from that very first corner of the race at Copse Corner. Ducati with Dovizioso chasing their 4th win of the season, and they would lead the World Championship by 9 points going into their home race in 2 weeks' time. On to the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, Dovizioso got that rear tyre hooked up brilliantly coming out of Aintree, and Vinales pounces on Valentino Rossi. So in the blink of an eye, Valentino Rossi goes from the lead back to 3rd place, and he's now under real pressure coming from Cal Crutchlow. Dovizioso trying to make a decisive break at the front of this Grand Prix. Through Luffield he comes. Dovizioso's up by about 0.3 of a second. Has he timed this attack to absolute perfection, Dovizioso?
Crosses the line now, Andrea Dovizioso. Oh, Danilo
Petrucci and Iannone have had a tangle.
And a disagreement by the look of things. This is down at Stowe.
Oh, Dovizioso, oh, dearie me. Iannone and Petrucci. Iannone wiping out Petrucci now. Dovizioso back at the front. His advantage over the line was 0.4 of a second. Andrea Dovizioso is a rider with such finesse. He is absolutely awesome at tyre management. So smooth. We've seen it so many times this year. Late on in the race, he's been so good at managing that tyre. He proved it at the Red Bull Ring in Austria just 2 weeks ago. This could be another famous win for Dovizioso.
1.5 laps away from the 4th win of the season for Dovizioso and Ducati. coming towards the club complex. Left, right. And then that longer right that brings you into the international pit straight. Good ride by Cal Crutchlow. Just hasn't quite had enough to make his way past the people in front of him, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's been sat in that 4th place for quite some time. Vinales is closing up through Abbey on Andrea Dovizioso. Has he pulled off a tactical masterstroke, Vinales? Is it a genius move to have run that soft option rear tyre if he's still got good grip left in it, and he still might have something for Andrea Dovizioso, but at the same time he's coming under serious, severe pressure from Valentino Rossi, who himself has not given up hopes of winning this Grand Prix.
There onto the Wellington Straight. You've got to say, this is a race now, I think, for Dovizioso to lose, because Dovizioso looks absolutely supreme as he pilots the Ducati through the Brooklands corner into Luffield.
Well, he survived a last lap onslaught from Marc Marquez in Austria 2 weeks ago. Is he going to not come under that kind of pressure this time around? Over the line, Dovizioso comes. He's got superb drive out of Woodcote. Dovizioso, he's almost 6/10 of a second clear. Has Andrea Dovizioso made that crucial break? He was 2/10 faster last time around than Maverick Vinales, and he's opening up a big gap. Aleix Espargaro has retired. He's been suffering so much with those rib injury problems. Dovizioso, you know, Nick, I think he might have this one covered.
Well, the 31-year-old, 2009, he won that first Premier Class race in his career, the British Grand Prix, then at Donington Park. He has been in sensational form this season on the Ducati. Down at Stowe, where he took the lead from Valentino Rossi. A couple of laps to go. Half a lap to go from the man from Forlì on the Adriatic coast of Italy. And where are we in 2 weeks' time? The Adriatic coast of Italy.
Well, it's now or never territory for Vinales and Rossi. What have they got for Andrea Dovizioso? The gap as they come through the second sector. Vinales has closed up a little bit. It's just over 3.5 of a second.
Well, we saw what Vinales could do in Le Mans when he was chasing Valentino Rossi, with Valentino Rossi crashing out in the end. Is there another twitch in this tail? Marc Marquez, all he can do is what? Blow an engine for the world champion and the former championship leader. Vinales is absolutely giving it everything as they come through the apron corner. I don't think it's close enough.
Dovizioso through the loop, and he's about to go loopy if he wins this British Grand Prix. Can Vinales get close enough? No, he won't be. 3 corners to go. He's been in dreamland 3 times already this year, Andrea Dovizioso. Ducati, that's never won here at Silverstone. Vinales, though, closes right up, coming through Luffield. Is it just a little bit too late? It could well be. Dovizioso surely is going to win a classic Battle of Britain here at Silverstone.
Dovizioso has done it, and he has opened up a 9-point lead in the World Championship. Vinales in second place, Rossi third, Crutchlow fourth.
What a race, what a race. Another classic in the MotoGP World Championship. Crutchlow fourth, Hoy Lorenzo comes home in fifth, Zarco back inside the top 6, Pedrosa seventh. Great ride by Scott Redding, his first top 10 in quite some time. Alex Rins as well, the top Suzuki there in 9th place. Alvaro Bautista rounds out the top 10 in his 250th Grand Prix appearance.
Wow. This is a race we remember for a long time.
Oh, Pol Espargaro's crashed on the cool-down lap. That's at the first corner. He was just about to celebrate an 11th place. Not sure what happened there for Pol Espargaro. That's after the checkered flag. Dear me, I hope that's okay, because that looked like a nasty old crash as he came through Copse.
It's a corner. Well, it's a crash when you're not ready for it as well, isn't it? When he's starting to relax. 4 wins for Andrea Dovizioso. He leads the World Championship by 9 points, riding the Ducati.
A 25-point swing between Dovizioso and Marc Marquez in the championship. How crucial could this British GP prove to be? It was right here, coming down the hanger straight, when Marc Marquez hit the brakes for the Stowe corner, when his Honda engine went bang. And that was such a costly mistake. There you go, Dovizioso, they're now 9 points ahead of Marc Marquez in the championship, just 26 points covering that top 4. People, even though he won at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, 16 points behind in the World Championship, was still casting doubt over whether Andrea Dovizioso was a serious championship contender. Well, he's proved that right. There's Pol Espargaro, who's going to be badly shaken up. The KTM team looking on anxiously, and quite rightly so, because he crashed after the checkered flag at the first corner.
Great ride by a Maverick Vinales. Softer option, rear tyre was his choice. When he got a bit swallowed up by the pack, we thought he might disappear a bit, but he didn't. It looks like Pol Espargaro is really knocked around.
It looked like the rear end just came round on him as he went through turn one. Here we go. He's come over the line. Yeah, look, the rear end just kicked out from underneath him. Whether he's gone down too many gears or whether there's been some kind of fluid dropping on the rear tyre, but he wouldn't have been at racing speed coming through the first corner after he's taken the checkered flag. That's going to really, really hurt.
Well, that was a later start of the race here. Didn't make the slightest bit of difference, did it? Another absolute classic MotoGP encounter. What a ride by Valentino Rossi. He was the trailblazer for so long.
Yeah, Valentino Rossi, nobody can say that he did not leave it all out there today. The fans appreciate the effort from everybody out there today, but they were served up a brilliant race by Dovizioso, Vinales, Rossi and Crutchlow. For a while there, Marc Marquez was right in the hunt. There's the engine blow up for Marc Marquez, and that could be so costly. We're on board with Dovizioso. There's going to be a big plume of white smoke. Bang, there you go. Tell you what, it was Maverick Vinales, wasn't it, who got a face full of smoke. On board with Marquez now.
Yeah, this is him coming down the hanger straight any second now. Oh. Well, it's probably not the right word to use. It's blown the championship absolutely wide open, isn't it? Boy, Lorenzo, another good ride, 5th place, it's coming. I think he'd be a bit disappointed. You say he was running the pace of the front men for a long time, but he just couldn't close the gap on them, could he?
Dovizioso, 4 Grand Prix wins now. He's having his best season in terms of wins since he won the 125cc World Championship way back in 2004. Good to see Scott Redding back inside that top 10. Redding's had a pretty awful run of late. It was Scott Redding's first top 10 in 10 races.
Good ride again by Johan Zarco, running in 6th place.
Valentino Rossi, Brent Stevens and Bernard Anchial just congratulating him because he did absolutely everything, Rossi.
But here is the race winner, his 4th win of the season, his 2nd successive Grand Prix victory. Ducati are on the charge as they go into their home Grand Prix.
Yeah, the chant goes up, Dovi. He's got Old Wild West written on his crash helmet. Well, he's being a bit of a gunslinger right now, isn't he?
He certainly is.
So that's what now, 4 wins in the last 7 races for Andrea Dovizioso.
He has found something, isn't he?
And what a picture that is. Marc Marquez is stricken factory Honda. No points for Marc Marquez, and adding insult to injury, its closest championship rival takes a full house, 25 points, and Marquez sees a pretty comfortable 16-point lead turn into a 9-point deficit in the blink of an eye.
Well done, Scott Redding. That really is an encouraging ride into 8th place for Redding, for of course he departs for Aprilia next season. But Dovizioso, steady Eddie, that's probably been a little impolite to him. He was always regarded a little bit like that, wasn't he? Very safe option, super Grand Prix rider. He has stepped up to a completely different level.
Yeah, he really has. It's been an outstanding year for Andrea Dovizioso, and what a day for Ducati as well. This was the race-winning overtake, blasting past Valentino Rossi.
He's brake testing them all the way, and it's brilliant.
It was a game of dare on the brakes going down into Stowe. Dovizioso, he knew if he got good drive coming out the Chapel curve with the horsepower advantage he had on Rossi may be getting a bit of wheel spin as he came through Chapel, but Dovizioso with that horsepower advantage and the slipstream effortlessly blitzes up the inside of Rossi. It was a bit of a game of chicken here, wasn't it? Who's going to blink first?
Not many people outbrake Andrea Dovizioso, do they?
But 2 of the best breakers we've seen in the history of the sport there, with Andrea Dovizioso and Valentino Rossi. Dovizioso had the inside line and just a little bit more speed as well to carry him into the corner.
Well, he's done it again. And he leads the World Championship. Valentino Rossi said he would get on the, he thinks he can fight for a podium place. Boy, he fought for a race victory for so long. And a great ride by Maverick Vinales. Not a bad day for Yamaha at all, actually, was it? With that softer option rear tyre. He really hung in there, didn't he?
Valentino Rossi could not have done any more to have won that 300th Premier Class race in his career. Only his second podium in the last 9 races. A welcome return to the podium for Rossi, who does creep back into championship contention, courtesy of Marquez's costly engine blow-up.
That is amazing. 183 Dovizioso. Marquez 174, 9 points. 4 points behind Maverick Vinales, 13 points behind Vinales, Valentino Rossi. And Dani Pedrosa has further 9 points down on Valentino Rossi. And Zarco running in 6th place in the championship.
Well, he got it tactically spot on again, didn't he, Andrea Dovizioso? We do know he's a rider with great finesse, great experience, very smooth. He doesn't overstress and abuse that rear tyre. Valentino Rossi there quite clearly saying, I was absolutely on the limit, on the ragged edge, doing everything I possibly could to try and hunt down Dovizioso. Of course, let's not forget Cal Crutchlow in part Ferme is the top independent team rider. What a great job Crutchlow put up with to the checkered flag.
Well, great entertainment for the British crowd, some glorious weather, 3 brilliant races. But now this championship, it's just getting closer and closer. We're at the 2/3 distance now of surely the most remarkable MotoGP World Championship of all time. Here is Maverick Vinales, 2nd place, talking to Dylan.
Well, Maverick, congratulations, 2nd place here in Silverstone. You almost caught Dovi there in those last corners and took a bit of a gamble with that soft option rear. How difficult was it managing it over the race?
Well, over the race, I let Valentino go because I know I could not stay a lot on the slipstream. As in Austria it happened to me, I brake quite late and it was difficult to brake with another rider, especially with Valentino that have really good stoppie. So I let him go a little bit. I was trying just to save tires until the end. I did it. I just did my best lap time at the last lap. So I was trying my best. Dovizioso did a great job today. So just say congratulations. The championship is closer. We get closer to the leader. And I think we did a really good job today. Honestly, it was a gamble with the soft, but during all the weekend I was feeling great on the soft tires. So really good. Honestly, I'm happy and happy to see what happens in Misano. But honestly, we can fight hard.
Thanks a lot, Maverick. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was the Maverick Vinales we saw early in the season, wasn't it? Who won those 3 races and led the World Championship. I thought he looked absolutely superb today.
Yeah. Credit to him, congratulating Andrea Dovizioso. Sometimes you have to admit just being beaten by the better and faster man. The consolation prize for Maverick, though, today was his 50th Grand Prix podium. He becomes the 5th youngest rider in history to achieve that landmark, alongside a certain Valentino Rossi, Jorge Lorenzo, Marc Marquez and Dani Pedrosa.
Celebration time down at Ducati. This is Vinales. He put in a terrific effort on that last lap. Just coming down to Brooklands, it was just for a tiny moment you thought perhaps he will get close enough to have a go. But he's a wily old rider, Andrea Dovizioso, and he held firm. Valentino Rossi led for so long, but he's on the podium in front of the British fans.
Well, Valentino, congratulations, 3rd place here in Silverstone, but you did most of the work for 17 laps at the front and then it just dropped off a tiny little bit. What was the problem in the end? Was it the rear tyre?
Yeah, you know, I'm happy because my target is arrive on the podium, and I am on the podium. I am in the top 3. After a great race, I think that I give the maximum from the beginning to the end. Unfortunately, we know that in the last laps we suffer a bit, and 4 or 5 laps to go, I have to slow down just 0.4 or half a second. so no way with Dovi. And also with Maverick that have the soft rear, I have the hard, so I hope to have more life, but at the end he was faster than me. But anyway, I enjoy a lot, I make a lot of lap on the top. I think I ride well, and it's a good result.
Thanks a lot, Vale, congratulations.
Yeah, 300th Premier Class Grand Prix, and that was Rossi at his very, very best.
Yeah. He thinks he rode well. He definitely rode well. He was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, tremendous performance by Rossi. So we spoke to Vignales second, we spoke to Rossi in third place. We will any moment now talk to the race winner and the new championship leader. What a ride by Andrea Dovizioso. He seems to be able to win races in almost any circumstances at the moment. To me, that is always the sign of a potential world champion.
Yeah, there's Rossi's 4th podium in a row here at Silverstone. The 190th of his Premier Class career. 190 podiums in 300 races. Not a bad batting average, is it?
Pretty decent. So here he is, leads the World Championship, and he's just won his 4th Grand Prix. Andrea Dovizioso with Dylan.
Well, Dovi, congratulations. Win number 4, 9 points clear at the head of the championship. I mean, tell us, it looked like quite a patient race for you, but 3 laps to go, you made the move. Did you know you had that little bit extra?
No, I didn't know. Everybody saved the tire for most of the laps. But the practice and the race is completely different. And the way, the intensity everybody put in the race is completely different than practice. So we are very competitive in this condition. I'm really good to understand all the situation. I have negative point, but also some positive. I push 100% the last 2 laps. I wasn't faster, but I put my bike in the right position, and I was able to win the battle with Maverick. I went a little bit long in corner 16, but I was able to close the line, and this is an important race, important victory. Leading the championship, and really thank you to the team.
Thanks a lot, Dovi. Congratulations.
He's a modest man, isn't he? But don't take anything away from him. He has stepped up to a level that he's never been at before this season, and he really could win back that world title for Ducati.
8 years ago since he took his first ever MotoGP victory on British shores. He's back on the top step of the podium here again. That time it was at Donington Park. He is a proper series championship contender. There's Cal Crutchlow, daughter Willow in his arms, congratulating Daddy on a truly brilliant fight for the podium in front of his home crowd. Like we said with Rossi, he couldn't do much more to take the victory. Well, Cal Crutchlow could not do much more to take a podium in front of his home crowd.
Now, he hung in there the whole time, didn't he? Just didn't quite have the pace at the end there. Andrea Dovizioso's also got a young daughter, so that's brilliant. What's Crutchlow telling him to boo?
Okay, well, Cal was booing there.
Yeah.
That was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Back to Mummy, Lucy. Top independent team rider, Cal Crutchlow. It's good as well to see for the first time at Silverstone, allowing the British fans to take part in a track walk, and they can come and be part of the podium celebrations here for the first time.
Yeah, and it's great because they will be able to see the podium ceremony. Another great Grand Prix, great British Grand Prix. There's been all the problems with Silverstone and promoters and everything else. But in the end, it's the riders that come up with the goods, and they've come up with the goods once again in all 3 classes.
Ducati's first win at Silverstone. As we said at the start of the programme, they'd only ever had 2 podiums in the previous 7 years. That one of them was taken by Dovizioso in 2015 when he finished behind Danilo Petrucci. It has not been a happy hunting ground, this fast and wide open Silverstone circuit. They put that one to bed.
Yeah. Well, it just makes the championship unbelievable. Dovizioso with that 9-point lead. So, Davide Brio will come and receive the Constructors' Prize for Ducati. Knew all about winning motorcycle races, didn't he?
He did. Ducati are getting quite used to winning Grand Prix as well this year, aren't they?
Third place, Valentino Rossi.
It's only his 226th podium of his career.
His 300th Premier Class appearance. Absolutely superb ride by Maverick Vinales on that softer rear tyre. But it's his 4th Grand Prix win of the season. He now leads the World Championship by 9 points. He's 31 years old. It's Andrea Dovizioso.
Fourth one of the year then for Ducati. Davide Tardozzi taking the Constructor Prize.
Absolutely superb ride by Valentino Rossi into 3rd place.
Yeah, amazing to think in his Grand Prix career. Good to see Jonathan Rea there, the double World Superbike champion as well, handing over the 3rd place trophy to Rossi, who, no surprise, gets a massive reception from the British fans.
Led for 17 laps of the 20-lap race. He's well pleased. Maverick Vinales won here last year. I've got to say, right, this was as good a ride as when he won last year. Had to finish in 2nd place.
Becoming only the 5th youngest rider to reach 50 Grand Prix podiums today.
Well, he's the man from Forlì on the Adriatic coast of Italy. That's where we go next as well. Andrea Dovizioso wins here at Silverstone. He leads the World Championship by 9 points. The Ducati team join in with the Italian national anthem. Warm applause from Dovizioso's teammate there, Jorge Lorenzo, has stood on the top step of the podium 3 times here at Silverstone. What a day it's been. Bright sunshine, glorious weather, 3 absolutely superb Grand Prix races. And we're 2/3 through the season. Who is going to win that world title? Surely it's going to go all the way to Valencia in the middle of November to find out. Flares, Carver, crowds on the track. Brilliant scene here at Silverstone. British Grand Prix at this legendary circuit. First British Grand Prix ever held on the mainland 40 years ago, and this has lived up to the very best of all those Grand Prix at Silverstone or Donington Park.